Warriors Unite! Back with another episode of Vega Warriors 2 and a 1% Club. Welcome, my friends. Again, I have a few minutes here. Figured I'd give another tape here. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are on your purpose. Hope you guys are following God's purposes and conquesting yourself and conquesting people around you. So we have an exciting topic here for this one. Let me give some shout outs first. I've done these for a couple days, but let's do this time. JP, my friend, thank you. Daniel, Frederick, thank you, my friend. Dr. Von Life's Investing, always a pleasure. Thank you. AG, Daniel Fragments again. Thank you. Voice number 2. It's very important, guys, to understand, as Voice 2 Skull's talking about, that we need to have teachers out there. So one of the reasons I'm doing this is just to kind of help give my experiences to the younger generation, and hope you guys like that. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing it. So thank you guys very much. Dennis 885, thank you. Gio the Genius, thank you. Giodude the Genius, thank you. Lewis S TKO, thank you, my friend. Mark Thorough, thank you. Jon the Dawn, Stuart Wagner, and Sir Lean Beauty, Subliminals. Thank you very much for your comments, and I appreciate those. And so shout out to you guys. All right, so at 1 minute and 30 seconds, let's go ahead and do our topic. Our topic for this time is going to be accept things you cannot control under semen retention. So let's talk about that a little bit. All right, so again, as we always talk about, warriors, the key thing is to focus on the things you can control. This is going back to the old teaching in Brahmacharya. This goes back to the teaching in Stoicism. It goes back to the religious teachings and Christianity and Catholicism, as I talk about, and what I follow is Christianity and Jesus Christ. It all goes back down to the same old thing. And you can look at all the different religious texts and all the different philosophies, and it all talks about the same thing. Your life becomes much easier, less stressful, and a lot more enjoyable if you only try to control the things that you have control over. Now, this is especially true when it comes to semen retention. Why is that? Well, let's kind of think about this a little bit. So as you're focusing on things that you can control, you feel a whole sense of euphoria. You sense a bigger self-confidence, self-reaction, because you're now controlling something. Many of us stress out. Many of us are totally depressed, stressed out, because of things that we can't control. And those things should be left up to your Creator, in my case, Jesus Christ, and allow that individual, whoever you believe in, or in the case of Jesus and God and Jesus, to allow them to take charge of those things you can't. This is tremendous. This is Stoicism 101 we're talking about here. Basically, you're basically saying, I'm detaching from things I cannot control. Just like in the Psalms, God gave me the serenity to not try to control everything, to control what I can, make decisions what I can, react the way I can. But in the long run, you can't control those things. Let those things go. And this becomes really crucial when it comes to your self-control. Control those things you can have, I kind of say over. So therefore, if something happens to you, good or bad, you should treat it the same way. Say, okay, wonderful, this thing happened to me, that's great. Your reaction could be, I'm satisfied, I'm happy for the time being. I have other goals to achieve, I'm going to move on. Or if something happened to you negatively, say to yourself, okay, these things happen. What can I learn from this situation? Let's try it again. Let's move on again. Let's try. This all goes back to your goals. Let's continue trying to achieve your goals, keep working to those goals, and keep moving on. All this is going to help you in your peace of mind. It's also going to help you physically. You're not going to be as stressed out. You're going to control those things. And remember, with semen retention, holding on to your energy, you become a lot stronger. Therefore, you have a lot more resistance to things like stress, depression. You're able to handle those things a lot better. Therefore, as you do this, now you're able to say, okay, I can have a better day. I'm in control. I'm not going to let those things bother me that used to bother me. And you can tell, as soon as you release, you have a feeling, different feeling. And I know it's happened to me many times. When you release, all of a sudden now you're more anxious again. You get a little more antsy. You get to the point where now I'm a little more upset about things. I react quickly more. You're a lot more calmer when you're retaining and when you're keeping your energy. Okay? And that makes perfect sense. You're losing energy. You're losing part of yourself. So now you become a little more insecure, a little more fearful of things. And that's what happened to me a long time ago, several times. And so as a result of that, I could not control. And now, therefore, I was worried about things I could not control. Leave God, let God take care of that. Let your Creator take care of that. Those things you can't do anything about anyway. Even if you tried, you could not do anything about it. There's things that you cannot control. And God gives you the ability to know what those things are. Therefore, all you can really do is control the things you can. And as a result of that, you're going to just let things ride. Let it go. So no matter what happens to you, as the old Stoicism says, the old Stoics say, let it go. Let it go. Now, this is easier said than done. I had an example of this over the weekend where I got angry and I shouldn't have. That's my biggest challenge. Relaxing, not letting things bother me too much, and just kind of moving on. I'm still learning. We're all in a learning process, warriors. You have your own issues. I have my issues. I'm starting to get better, obviously, with the long retention streak. That's something that's helping a lot. But there's times you're still going to get out of whack sometimes. And those things are going to hit you in life. And you have to say to yourself, okay, this is happening to me. I can't control that. But I can control my reaction to that. And this goes back to Stoicism again. I can control that. I don't have to get that upset. I can detach from it. I can get to the point where I can deal with it, but I will deal with it in a constructive way and not let it bother me. That's part of the key to the whole thing, is that you want to be able to say, I can actually deal with this. I'm not going to let it bother me. I'm not going to get stressed out about it. I'm not going to get upset about it. I'll be able to do it. So if you somehow if you're in school and you get a bad grade, that's what happens. If you had a bad work day, if you have a bad situation with a relationship of some sort, those things happen. But how you react to those things makes a difference. You can't control the people, though people try all the time. You can't control people. The more you try to control somebody, the more they want to break away. It's almost like you try to put them in a cage, they're going to try to break out. So you'll have more stress, more headaches, because you can't control people. And as a parent for all these years as well, having little warriors, it's the same old thing. You cannot control your kids. You can't control everybody else. The only person you can try to control is yourself. And that takes a process. But once you control yourself, and I call it conquesting, once you're able to conquest yourself, now you're able to conquest other things around you. It's almost like the saying is, once you start liking yourself, you can now like other people. And that's the key to the whole situation. So as you learn self-control, you need to accept those things that you cannot control. You can't do anything about it anyway. You're going to get ulcers and stressed out if you try to worry about it, control those things, and try to put a cage on something, or you try to kind of stop something. You're not going to be able to do that. Accept those things around you. That's the first in being peaceful and trying to keep your energy, live a long life. It's been talked about several times that this is what people do. They're able to detach. They never take themselves seriously, and never take anything else seriously. They're at the point where they're able to deal with situations logically and rationally because they're able to detach emotion from it. Emotion's great at certain times, but emotion's not great when you need to make decisions In life and death situations, sometimes it's important to have rational, logical thought. And this is what happens with people who have been able to detach and not take those things seriously. So when we look at things, guys, it's important to understand, warriors, that it's important to look at life by saying, okay, there's things that I can control. Like you can control your diet. You can control your exercise. You can control your time management. Some of those things you can control. You control how you react to things. Good, bad, negative. You can't control the people. You can't control the situations around you, but you can react to those. And so the more you're able to conquest yourself, get control yourself, the more you can kind of have an influence on things around you. And I'll tell you, once you're able to control yourself more, and semen retention is the best way to do that. Obviously, this is what they talked about in the Fountain of Youth book for Kelder, and I always try to mention that book. That's a great book to have. Once you're learning how to control this, and you're doing the exercises like I've been doing since, what has it been now? I can't remember, 1998 or 1999. And I feel unbelievable. I've felt unbelievable for years. But now I've gotten to another level because of the semen retention level in right number 6. Once you're able to control yourself like that, now you can do things that control yourself more, like taking cold showers. And I think someone mentioned that in one of the responses recently. To jump in that cold shower takes a lot of self-control, not to jump back out right away. Also, then dieting, right? Exercising. All these things that we put into this makes a huge difference because now you can control other aspects of your life. But you find there's certain things you can't control. You can't control things that happen to you, but you can react to those in a positive way. Some people who are not people who are successful, who fail, who have struggles, they react differently. They have a lose mentality. They don't have a positive mentality. And so they think they're going to start losing right away. Teams do this all the time. You see this in sports. They might be winning, but all of a sudden they start losing. I remember a person who was a golfer who always told me that they were kind of a mid-average golfer. And one time I was playing golf with them, and they shot a tremendous first 9 holes, and all of a sudden they were way ahead. But then all of a sudden the second half, they came back to earth, and they averaged out about the same as they usually average. And I think part of that's a mental thing. All of a sudden, they weren't accustomed to being that far ahead, and so they had to draw back, and subconsciously, they kind of get themselves back. And so I have no proof of that, obviously, but warriors, I think a lot of it is our mental approach. If you think you can do something, once again, that's something your body's going to react to and push yourself to that limit. If you think you can't, then you're going to stop yourself subconsciously in certain ways. And I think this is what happens to people when it comes to self-control. They don't feel like they can control things, and things are out of their control. They're more deterministic in nature, and they're not going to be able to control something, and so they allow things to happen subconsciously, and so they start eating more, they don't watch their diets, they don't do the things they should be doing, and all of a sudden now they fall into the spot they were trying to avoid, and that's what they were moving towards. So this is an important kind of concept when it comes to thinking about things. You don't ever want to focus on things you don't want. I remember a story, a World Series story one time, and I think it was back in the 50s, World Series in the 50s, that a pitcher was, they had a tough situation at the end of the game, and they had a big home run hitter up, and this pitcher, didn't want to give this person a high fastball, and so the pitching coach comes out, and the one thing the coach says is that don't throw a high fastball. Well, that's the worst advice you can give, because now in the mind, the pitcher's thinking, I'm going to throw the person, I don't want to do it, but they reverse it and basically threw the pitch right in the spot the person hit a home run, and won the World Series game. And now that goes back to the same old thing, just like basketball, free throw shooting. You should never tell people to not miss free throws. Watch your free throws, because you want people to hit free throws, create positive. Never create the negative of what you don't want. But people do it all the time because they're worried, they're scared. And if they're scared, This is what happened with a lot of our things recently. People get scared of things, so they do things they shouldn't be doing because they're scared. Anyway, going back to what we're talking about, my friend, the biggest idea is accept the things you can't control. Try to work on the things that you can control to be the best that you can become. And when it comes to retention, it starts with retention. This is the building block of all self-control, is retaining that energy you have. From there, it's going to give you power, superpower, to be able to do more things of that and continue moving on after that point. And now you can focus on looking better, acting better, all those things you need to do to get better as a person. And so as you become stronger, now you can focus on your diet, your showers, your exercising, all those things, become the best person you can become. All right, my friends. Anyway, enough for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. The next one we'll do is using our time wisely during semen retention to get the most out of keeping our energy. But until next time, 2 things I always say, my friends. 1, every day is a new day to a great warrior, and I hope you guys are enjoying every day and working hard to become the best you can become. And second, my friends, we know that this is always a continual fight between the evil one, temptation, the spiritual world, which is always with us. Let me say something about that. The spiritual world is always with you. Everything you do, you wake up in the middle of the night, that's a spiritual connection. So everything has a spiritual connection, even though you may not think it does. Everything has a spiritual connection. And therefore, if everything's got a spiritual connection, you want to make sure that you understand that. And you understand that there's an evil fight going on here between someone called the evil one, satanic, Satan, however you want to call it, and the good in you, created by your creator, your God, in my case, Jesus Christ, who basically is saying that we will not succumb to falling into the devil, giving to the devil, going over to the devil. We're going to stay with Jesus Christ. We're going to stay with our creator. And therefore, we have to continue every day to be on guard and take the battle to someone else. And this is why I always say we need to continue to